So July Xbox Game Pass games are here, and we have some awesome titles to check out. I'm Sonny, your host at Xbox Central. We're going to start this with none other than the infamous GTA 5 that's available today. Now, this has been available before, but it makes its return, and what's there to say about this game that everybody doesn't already know? It released 10 years ago now. The single-player story is great to this day. It's one of my most memorable times I've had in gaming. It still holds up today, but what makes this one of the most played games on a daily basis is, even 10 years later now, is GTA 5 Online. And recently they dropped their new DLC in San Andreas Mercenaries, and it brings in new missions and new operations and new vehicles, and really there's a lot more stuff to do. If by chance you haven't played this, or if you're looking for something with an extensive community and a lot of mindless fun, there's seriously no better game out there, especially as we start to inch just a little closer now to the new GTA 6. It's really a no better time to jump into a game like this. GTA 5 is now ready to play on consoles and the cloud. So we have the game Sword and Fairy available today as well, and it's a game that perfectly brings that Chinese art style plus the lore of the ancient Chinese mythology into this game, featuring a rich storyline. Visually, it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous title with a traditional hack and slash combat. The soundtrack apparently to this game is getting the most praise out of all the mechanics and features this game has to offer, and you're going to get about 30 hours of gameplay out of this. And truthfully speaking, this game's been right up there with some AAA titles that have released in the past couple of years. So overall, it's a very solid title. You're going to find this on consoles, the cloud, and PC. Our next game is McPixel 3. This is a game about saving the day in multiple levels and stages. It's a really lighthearted title meant to give you some laughs as you do wild and wacky things as you try to rescue the world. There's 100 different levels mixed with 20 different mini games. There's puzzles scattered throughout the adventure as well. It's really a simple yet fun title that can be finished around 4 to 6 hours. McPixel 3 will be landing on Game Pass on July 6 on consoles, cloud, and PC. Now, the game Commonhood is what I would say is like a builder's paradise. It's a title about forming a community and bringing that all together to build a sustainable way of life for everyone around you by scavenging materials and building a whole new utopia. This is a very detailed management builder where you're going to grow your own food and make your own tools and research new technology. Heck, you can even build up robots to help you aid in building and crafting. It's kind of like a creator's dream if you like seeing something built from scratch into a new mini society where you're pretty much in fully the driver's seat of it all. If you're interested in Commonhood, it's going to be available on July 11th across consoles, cloud, and PC. So Capcom's latest title and day one release is hitting Game Pass in ExoPrimal. This is an online team-based game that has you and your squad in a fight to save humanity against an old school enemy in dinosaurs. The year is 2040, and there's been an outbreak of these beasts that has threatened the world, and you're going to be gearing up with cutting-edge technology in the form of exosuits. Now, so far the gameplay seems really fun and chaotic from the trailers. There is traditional roles that you'll be playing when you team up with other players, like Assault, which is going to be the DPS. Then there's Tank, that's going to try to grab the aggro, and then you have Support that'll help repair your teammates during the fight, and you'll be able to change exosuits on the fly even during combat for what your team needs. The game also comes with a variety of weapons at your arsenal. There's also a competitive mode where two teams face off in a race to complete objectives, and the first team to finish wins, which I actually kind of like. Too often we have to kill each other. It's nice to kind of see a PvE style of competition. The game really honestly looks promising overall, and it seems like it's going to be a good one when it debuts on Game Pass on July 14th on consoles, cloud, and PC. The game Insurgency has been available for consoles and the cloud, but today it joins PC Game Pass. This is a team-based tactical FPS that does an amazing job at giving a good balance between pretty realistic mechanics down to just how the guns are fired and used, to bringing in a high-octane player versus player fun that you're going to get in very close quarter combat gameplay. You can really expect deadly ballistics, destructive artillery, and some of the best audio in a warlike setting in a video game to date. It sounds very crazy realistic. The game does feature full character and weapon customization as well. There's several maps and several game modes, and it really does offer some intense player versus player action that you don't want to miss. This joins PC Game Pass on July 11th. Now, Techtonica is somewhat of a day one Game Pass game because it's new, but it's also releasing as an early access game on Game Pass, and it's been garnering quite a bit of interest because it's a sci-fi factory automation game that has you exploring a labyrinth of alien caves and dark dungeons and scavenging and molding the terrain and establishing a home base to build on. And you're going to be building up massive machines and automating those to create some pretty huge factories. That's not the only part of this game though. There's a lot of exploration and technology to research and discover, and that's why this game's a little bit different, because the game Factorio is kind of the same thing, only it's 2D and that's super popular, but this is 3D and you're the one that's physically doing all this neat stuff in a mysterious alien world. The game also does feature full-on co-op with up to 4 players, and you can have a blast with that, but if not, you can do this completely solo if that's your jam. It's a promising title that lands on consoles, cloud, and PC on Game Pass on July 18th. So the game The Cave makes its way onto Game Pass this July from the creator Ron Gilbert, who also made Monkey Island. You're going to take a team of 3 adventurers that you choose, all with their own unique backstories and history, and you're going to make a journey into the depths of a mysterious set of locations like an amusement park or medieval castle. And overall, there's going to be a lot of puzzles and collectibles and of course story to take in with this game. There's about 4 hours of gameplay to finish the title, so it's a short game. It's a casual game based with some humor and really just a lot of fun puzzles. This lands on July 18th on consoles and the cloud. And finally, we have 2 other titles coming later in July that we know of. Wandering Village lands on July 20th. This is a city building simulation game set on the back of a giant dinosaur-like wandering creature in a post-apocalyptic title where you have to build settlements, gather resources, and survive in a hostile environment with tons of dangers. And then finally, we have the game Venba. This hits July 31st. This is a new Day 1 Game Pass title. It's a narrative-based game where you play as a mom who immigrates to Canada, and essentially you cook lost dishes and recipes while exploring the story of love, loss, and life. And in case you missed it, the games with gold for July was also announced recently. Darkwood, which I feel is a pretty underrated horror game. It's a top-down survival horror game that has you exploring and scavenging while trying to survive. During the day, you're searching for things that actually keep you alive, and then at night, you're trying just to survive and live. The levels are completely randomly generated, so you're always getting fresh environments and fresh experiences, and of course, you're going to be crafting items to just live the night. It's a fun game, one that I've loved, and it's available now to claim until July 31st. And then finally, we have the game When the Past Was Around. Is an adventure point-and-click puzzle game about love, joy, and pain. This will be available to claim July 16th to August 15th. I also wanted to take a quick look at August games because I'm pretty excited, especially for this one in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This is from the makers of the game Friday the 13th. This will pit 4 survivors against 3 killers in an upcoming horror multiplayer title, and this definitely gives me some Dead by Daylight vibes, only like turned up ×5, but it looks like it's also a bit deeper and it's a lot more gruesome to say the least. One of my most anticipated games this year, and it should be a good one when it lands on August 18th. And then at the very end of August, we have Sea of Stars. This is a new turn-based RPG inspired by classic titles with a gorgeous art style, compelling storyline, and rich characters to delve into their history. August so far only has those 2 games confirmed, but I have to say it's looking pretty promising. And as always, we have the games leaving Game Pass on July 15th, just a couple, which is good to see, and of course you get that sweet 20% discount. But if you're looking for some of the biggest games releasing this upcoming year and beyond on Game Pass, you're going to want to check out that video on the screen.